Alright, and we are now live, guys.
We are finally live.
Yes, we are supposed to have gone online 20 minutes ago, but the streaming program that we used to be able to stream the both of us at once on your screen right now recently went through an update that we did not know about. So all of the settings that we're typically used to have all been thrown out the window, and Ken and I had just to scramble to make sure that everything could run.
In the last half an hour.
Exactly. So we're still having our fingers crossed that everything will run all right. But
so please let us know in the chat if there's any problems or if our audio is not... Basically, any technical difficulties, tell us on the chat.
Yes. And you'll have noticed that since Ken has come back, all of these technical difficulties has started cropping up again. And I don't know if that is a coincidence or not, guys.
I always bring
everything was running
issues,
so smoothly. Hey, Thomas, great to see you here on the chat, man, with your raiding party of 12.
Awesome.
And hello to you.
I don't know what that means, but yeah.
So I think on Twitch, it's when you bring people from your own chat to someone else's stream.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. But yeah, hello to everyone in the chat. It's great to see some familiar faces and new ones as well. We've actually, on Facebook, we've just recently hit around 300 likes. Whereas at the start of the week, we only had half that number. So I think it's because some of the artists that will be on today's panel have shared it on their social media and have helped bring in some newcomers to our channel. So we just like to give you guys a warm welcome. And of course, a big thank you for giving us a chance. And hopefully you guys will stay along for the ride and stay for a long time to come as well.
For sure. So should we do the usual intro?
Yes, let's start with that.
Awesome. Okay. So we'll start with the typical Drawing Table Podcast intro. Hey guys, welcome back to the Drawing Table Podcast, where we have chill and casual conversations about art, and of course about creating it as well. We are your hosts, Darmadi and
Jourdan Tuffan. And I think you actually owe the guys in the chat a little bit of an explanation, Ken, on your whereabouts for the last few weeks, since you've been missing.
Yeah, I missed the last podcast and I had to leave it to you, to soloing the podcast.
I know.
So
I was so lonely, man.
Yeah. So what's been happening to me is that on that week that Jourdan had his solo podcast, I had to go to Bali. One, for a holiday, and then second, I was asked by my wife's parents to do some real estate photography. So I did that, and also I've been quite busy with freelance. So Jourdan has been kind of pulling the weight with the podcast these past few weeks. So I'm really grateful for
big
that.
Time, Ken.
Yes, when I meet you, I'll buy you some beer or Thai food.
Sounds good to me. Well, on my end, I haven't been doing anything as fancy as real estate photography. I've just been busy preparing for this episode, and we do have a special one today. And before we get into that, since there might be quite a few new viewers on today's episode, so we'd just like to give you guys a little bit of background on who we are as the Drawing Table Podcast. So I guess the little background story on how we started in the first place is that Ken and I have been so inspired by a lot of the conversations that we've had with people that we've met throughout our artistic journey. So whether with different artists or with people in general, aspiring artists. And we've thought that, if we've gotten so much out of these conversations and been so inspired just from talking with people, what if there happened to just be a microphone in the room and other people were able to tune in as well? That's one of the first things, but there's another part to a story as well. So maybe you'd like to tell that, Ken?
Yeah, we were actually watching this live stream by Heavy Polly or Vaughn Ling. And one of the episodes, he invited a guy, a really awesome guy, an awesome artist named Darren Kwok. And they were just gushing over artwork and just talking and having a really chill conversation, which we try to do in this podcast as well, because we're really inspired by the, the wholesomeness of their stream. So,
yeah, for sure. So we wanted to try and capture that essence and put it into a bottle, which we could, in creating our own podcast. And the idea behind the name, the drawing table, is that we wanted to create an environment where it felt like, all of you guys in the chat and, all of us are sitting at a table together, just discussing, just chatting and sketching things together as well. So we do that through a lot of different segments. There's like a chat session where we invite lots of different artists, chill session where we kind of mess around as we do when we meet up with our artist friends, and some things that are more serious, like a design jam where we set a brief ahead of time and have you guys join in as well and do your own take on it.
Mm-hmm.
However,
and
today...
Yes, today we have one more segment that's that we always try to prepare quite ahead of time, because I think this segment is something very interesting and we haven't really seen something like this before, right, Jourdan?
Oh yeah, it's actually been quite a few weeks since our last segment, which we call the artist panel. So if you would do the honors of introducing the audience to what the artist panel is, Ken.
Right, so for the newcomers, artist panel is a segment where we ask a bunch of different artists from different backgrounds and skill levels a set of questions, and we ask them for their opinions and also thoughts on a specific topic that we ask ahead of time. And then during the episode, we'll play back what their answers are, and we'll also be adding to the discussion by sharing our thoughts and opinions as well. And then as usual, with every episode, we'll close it with a Q&A session and also an Art of the Week section.
Yes. And so for the topic for today's episode, we have decided to do it on the impact of social media. So you might be wondering, why did you guys decide to do it on that? Well, it's a topic that's commonly discussed, I think, or is brought up in discussion amongst artists. But recently, there has been a decision by ArtStation, which I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with, to remove the cumulative likes and view counter on individual artists' profile. And the reason that they did it was supposedly to reduce the toxicity that they have been experiencing firsthand from users of their website, messaging them directly, or even just some of the wider trends that they have noticed in the industry. And they felt that it was their responsibility to foster a more positive environment, I suppose, and remove the toxicity. So it led us to think about the bigger picture, which is, how does social media exactly impact us as an artist and the wider industry in general?
And I posted a link to their blog post, which explains their decision and why they made the change, if you're not up to speed. And I posted that on the chat, so you can take a look quickly.
Yes, so you can get it straight from the horse's mouth itself, so that we don't mince or misrepresent their views. So feel free to read that at your own time.
It will also be a good idea to read that, so you can contribute to the discussion while we're having a chat with the both of us, because we want this we always want the drawing table to involve you guys, so it's not just us both, but we want to hear your opinions and your thoughts as well.
Definitely. So back to what we were saying about all of us sitting at a table, so pull up your chairs, grab your drinks, and let's get straight into it, guys. And whether it's an agreement or disagreement, or you have something else to add, please feel free to join in. So yes, without further ado and blabbering on, we will introduce our artists on today's panel.
Hey, thank you for including me. My name is Tyler EDLIN. I've been a professional for about 10 years now. I'm in my mid-30s, and I've been freelancing pretty much the entire time.
Hello, my name is Rika. I'm more commonly known online as BWUSAGI or BWUSAGI. I'm a 22 years old freelancer and content creator based in Jakarta, Indonesia. I've been making art since I was a kid and been doing digital art since 2009. I work with a wide range of elements, and anatomy is my main inspiration for most of my work. Right now, I'm mostly working on my original stuff and looking forward to produce my own comic in the future.
So first and foremost, I want to thank Jourdan and Ken for inviting me to share my opinion on their podcast, The Drawing Table. Thank you. Alright, so just a quick introduction. My name is shit, I forgot my name. My name is Josh. I'm a friend of Jourdan and Ken. I met them a couple of years back in Indonesia. I am a concept artist by name, but I kind of do a lot of things depending on what job they need me to do. So I kind of do some storyboarding, animation, background design, background art, whatever they need me to be. So essentially, I want to call myself a 2D artist instead. I've been working on the industry for around 7 years, starting out as a freelancer, but now I'm working here in Japan as a 2D artist.
Hey everyone, I'm TCK, I'm 21, I'm a concept artist, been working at Atom Hawk for about 2 years.
So, as you can see, we have quite a diverse range of artists on today's panel. And one of the big reasons why we chose each one of those artists is that they each have a substantial amount of followers on social media. So we thought, hey, who better would it would be to ask than people that have had experience navigating the social media landscape and have had a lot of experience dealing with some of the issues or maybe even some of that toxicity that ArtStation has mentioned before. And of course, each of them are great artists in their own right, and I'm personal fans of all of them. And yeah, as I've mentioned before, they have each different backgrounds, stages of life, and experience levels. So we hope for a diverse range of opinions to be up for discussion as we go through their responses later on. And we really appreciate all of them taking their time to just respond to the questions that we've given them and being a part of today's episode.
So to start, we've asked them 7 questions for the topic of social media, and the first question is, what are your thoughts about the importance and impact of social media on yourself? How have they impacted you positively or negatively?
So I think overall social media can be a really positive thing for individuals, for artists. It can really help get your work out there. You can build an audience or a following. That element is all really good. But at the end of the day, they are designed to be addicting. They're largely distracting. There is, drama that goes down on them. So I think like anything in life, if you use it sparingly and are cautious about it, it's a perfectly fine and safe tool.
I think social media is important in regard of making sharing art and getting acquainted with another artist much easier. You don't have to tire yourself out with searching for and joining a local community. Social media also plays a big role on my art career because most of my clients and my audience are international. And so far, social media has been mostly a positive influence on me, and I get to interact with people who have similar interests and make friends.
I would say both positive and negative. Positive being I get people asking me if I'm open for work, for freelance. It's not a constant thing, but sometimes if I say I'm open for commission, people usually ask me if I'm able to take in theirs. So I kind of like line things up and schedule them.
I'm acutely aware of how competitive things can get when you're posting your artwork online. The rational part of my brain will always say that numbers don't matter, but of course, when presented with 2 numbers, one your own, one someone else's, you can't help but compare them. Personally though, I haven't found that this actually causes me to change what I want to make. It could simply be that my personal preferences are already shaped by what's popular online. But the result with me is that I just want to improve the quality of my work, rather than change the subject matter to fit what's popular.
So Ken, what do you think of
their
answers?
answers?
Hey,
No, you first.
okay.
You first.
Okay. I think one thing that seems to be a common thread amongst all of the answers that the artists on the panel have given is that they see social media as an overall positive, and I agree with that actually. With as much of the distractions that come along with social media, such as what Tyler has said, in how social media is designed to be addictive and distracting, I think it really is up to the individual to learn how to navigate and deal with the pressures and also all of the negative things that could come along from it as well.
I agree. I think for me personally, it's the same deal. I just feel a lot of positive things has come out of social media, like for example, getting jobs and also discovering new artists, new artworks there are so many artworks out there that are really beautiful. So, and without social media, I don't think I can discover all of them. And also making new connections. And in that case, this artist panel won't happen without social media, because without social media, we won't have any way of connecting with these artists.
It's because of it that we've had the chance to have direct just connection and contact, because otherwise I think back then, the way to meet people would be to do it face to face at a specific event. And I think the ability, and it gives us the ability to just also, as creators, have a direct connection with an audience, to put our artwork out there so that people can discover it.
I think that's exactly what Rika is saying. She's been able to interact with people of similar interests and then finding communities that's of similar interests with her, and also make new friends, things like that. But of course, there are still lots of negatives, such as the drama, as Tyler mentioned.
Yeah, definitely.
Lots of drama.
And
I do agree with you. I do agree with you. It's all up to the individuals to be able to separate the positive from the negative.
Yeah, and I also personally struggle with being competitive, since I am a competitive person by nature. So whenever I would see someone post up an amazing piece of art, well, maybe not so much now, but back then I used to feel the urge to kind of want to top that other person. And sometimes that art is not even the type of artwork that I like to do. I personally like doing more stylized artwork, but back then I even delved into photo bashing just because I saw some of my classmates doing such awesome photoreal stuff. And it ended up shaping my preferences, and I fell into the same trap that Thomas had mentioned in his answer and response.
Yeah, that's true. And with social media, we're constantly bombarded with everyone else's progress. And a lot of people only keeps posting what their success is like, They don't really post what their failures are. So it's quite biased in that sense, that we only see other people's success. And that's how we tend to get discouraged and be negative and put a lot of pressure on ourselves, because we just keep comparing ourselves to other people.
And I personally also fear being irrelevant as well, because you're constantly getting an input from all of the collective people that you follow, that I feel that if I don't update, I'm just going to be buried under all of them, and someone better and who posts more regularly will end up becoming more recognized than I am. And I see that as a missed opportunity.
Yeah, so that kind of brings out the not a healthy competitive spirit, but brings a bit,
for sure,
something a bit more like you want other people to fail a bit so you can be more relevant in the industry.
Whoa, Ken, I had no idea, man.
It's okay, we're open. We're open
hey,
in
speak
this
for yourself,
podcast.
Man. I only wish for the best for other people.
I see.
I mean,
if-
I definitely feel that too.
yeah,
Especially when
if
your
I have to
own
be
work isn't
honest-
going well, and then you see someone else
Exactly.
posting up their awesome artwork. It's like, how dare he?
Yeah.
But of
I think
course,
that happens. Sorry, I think that happens mostly to younger artists. Not saying in terms of the age, but in terms of experience. Because we have TCK, who's very young, is 21, but obviously
and
very
Rika
mature.
as well. Yeah.
Rika as well. Yeah. So,
But at the same time, of course, when you're feeling down and sometimes you post up something that you think isn't so great, when someone just comments on your work and say that they really love it, hey, that can be a pick-me-up as well. And it can actually make you feel a lot more encouraged. Otherwise, you just be wallowing in your own self-pity and just self-loathing.